This will be the most embarrassing video I've ever done. Caddicarus! Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. When you're a kid, the world is big, the world is scary, and that man on the street corner giving you sweets is trying to kidnap you so that he can take you back to his house and turn you into sweets that he gives to other kids. You're eating people. The cycle never ends. And so, because of that, sometimes the dumbest things in books, movies, TV shows, and all sorts can really give you the heebie-jeebies, whether intentional or not. But today I decided to share with all of you today my top 10 things in video games that scared the shmickles out of me as a child. And some of them are really fucking stupid. The only rules for this list are, well, one game per franchise, and also, whether intentional or completely stupid and unintentional, it doesn't matter. If it scared me as a kid, it goes on the list. Also, in this entire video, I'm not going to mention Silent Hill or Resident Evil, because if you know my stuff well, that's far too predictable. Anyways, get your nappies ready, everyone. It's gonna get very scary. That's why I'm in my Spyro onesie, in my bedroom. I'm safe here. Oh, and I bet that nobody, and I mean nobody, can guess my number one. At all. You can try, but you won't. You won't get it. I bet you anything. Number 10 is ridiculous. When I was little, and I mean about 3 years old, there was a little game in our household known as Formula 1 on the PlayStation. And I hated it. Not because I thought the game was hard or anything, no. I was too young to react to racing games back then. In fact, I didn't even make it past the fucking start screen when I was little. I don't know what it was, but I just remember being terrified by this start screen. And you know, that would be worse enough on its own. But then, the noises start. Noises that were crawled up and recorded straight from the deepest depths of hell. Yes, engines. Screeching engines. I know it's stupid, but it was enough to scare the shmickles out of me when I was younger, and rendered me so afraid that I actually ended up chewing the front inlay of the game case to vent my fear and teach the game a lesson. The game never learned, and it tormented me for years. Why does nobody ever talk about this game? I thought it was pretty damn good. Taz Wanted on the GameCube I think is a very underrated gem of that generation of games, and it was actually the game that made me ask my parents for a GameCube that following Christmas. I never got it.
Remember how I told you I'd get you a GameCube for Christmas?
That's right, Major, you did!
I lied.
And there was a particular area in this game that was themed around vampires, werewolves, cemeteries, and haunted houses, so it's a little less dumb than the Formula 1 tire noises, but it's a Looney Tunes game. It shouldn't have scared me. Why did it? Well, I remember there was one night I was home alone with my sister for an hour or so in the late evening, and I played this game on a special mission involving a hiccup power-up. It was a pitch black winter evening, I was alone in my room, the TV screen glare illuminated the top landing outside my door, and I was raging hard at this mission. I just couldn't do it. And after literally trying this mission for the entire hour I was alone, I still couldn't do it. And then something inside me snapped. The visuals got to me, the music got to me, the infuriating gameplay got to me, playing it in the dead of night all alone got to me. And I ended up freaking the fuck out, leaving me to forever get freaked out whenever I picked the game up after that horrible night. And this is coming from a game where the main character goes, so why it scared me so much, I have no idea. But it did, deeply and psychologically. I'm okay now, but there's a horror story for all of you out there worried about playing games too late at night. Truly terrifying, I know. Those are the consequences. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. I got this scared out by Spider-Man. Yes, number 8 goes to the first Spider-Man game on the original Xbox. A fun little game, nothing mind-blowing though. I loved this game when I was a lot younger and thought it was awesome kicking ass through the first few levels as Tacky Suit Spider-Man. But then, the first boss level happened. Uncle Ben's killer. I hated, and I mean hated, this goddamn murderer of pre-cooked rice packets. He was fast, hung around in the dark, hid behind corners, shot a gun at you, and he scared the shit out of me for whatever reason I don't actually know. I couldn't beat him for a few weeks. Pathetic, I know, and I grew an irrational fear of this ass cake for my younger self to be forever plagued by. Honestly, the only thing that helped me overcome my fear of this guy was the fact that after beating him, you got to play as proper suited Spider-Man. But until then, ugh, too creepy for Kitty Caddy. Have you guessed my number 1 yet? You won't get it. I promise you. I'm sorry, please carry on. To Destruction Derby 2's main menu music. I did mention in my video of this game a long time ago that the soundtrack in this game is really badass, but the main menu theme that greeted my younger self many years back was enough to make me turn the game off before even hitting a bloody button. It's horrifying. Drop dead horrifying. It's droning, deep, gritty, slow, distorted. It sounds like what would play if Death himself was to phase upwards and pass through the Earth's surface into our realm. Not to mention coupling this opening theme with the pleasant pastime of looking deeply into the box art of this game, and it was enough to completely scare the fucking shmickles out of me as a kid. Altogether, it's hell incarnate. And it's still freaky for me today, actually. See? The first entry on this list that isn't completely dumb and irrational. Okay, fair enough, it's a song, but... Next number... I'm not sure if it would be considered irrational or rational for a kid to be scared of Eco on PS2, but I was. I remember playing the demo of this game for the first time, and it just spooked the crap out of me. All over the floor. Stains. Stains everywhere. This game was unlike anything I had ever played at that point in time. The emptiness, the isolation, the huge, open, beautiful yet haunting landscapes and temples. I never felt safe in this game whatsoever. Anything could happen from any angle around you, and the fact that the demo had no context to anything you were doing because, you know, no intro cutscene, just made me feel that much more helpless and scared. You just started as a skinny little boy, plonked into a dark, scary temple. With a stick. And that was it, no explanation. Then you find a girl, and then shadow demons start chasing you down and stealing her away, and then armed with a stick. And having these shadows shroud you from every corner gave me extreme paranoia with this game. The frequency in which Yorda got kidnapped, and the amount of times you were knocked down, unable to stand, and how many demons there were on screen, it was too much for me when I was younger. The feeling of an insane loss of control and uncertainty was very strong for me back then, and where it wasn't impossibly hard, it stressed me out so much that I didn't pick the full game up until the HD collection rolled around on PS3 many years later. I'm okay now, but as a kid, the Eco demo truly scared the shmickles out of me as a kid. Number 5 is a fucking ripoff. A shameless ripoff. A decent game, but a shameless fucking ripoff. Raise your hands, everyone, if you ever played the first Doom. Ah, great, okay. Now, who has ever played this game? Oh, really? Oh, I thought nobody had ever heard of this game. That's weird. Oh, okay, everyone. Yes, number 5 belongs to Dark Arena on the Game Boy Advance. Oh, wait, the hands went down? Oh, right, yeah. It's because you thought it was a level in Doom. I see what you did there. No, I wasn't trying to trick you. This is genuinely a different game. Yes, anyway, Dark Arena was my first adult game I owned for my Game Boy Advance. And when I was 7 years old or so, receiving this for Christmas,
it was too adult for me.
It scared me relentlessly, even though nothing really that scary ever happens. It was just the tension, the pure unbridled tension. What was ahead? What would get me? I don't know! And I never had a massive GBA game library in the first place, so I almost felt like I had no choice but to trudge valiantly through the game until my parents bought me another one, and I hated every goddamn second of it. In fact, true story, I even used to show off on the playground by playing this game around the bigger kids to prove that I was brave. Yeah, Doom Arena. I mean Dark Arena. It scared the shmickles out of me when I was a child. I bet you haven't guessed my number 1 yet. I bet you anything. No, it's not the piano from Mario 64. I'm not that fucking predictable. Medieval. Medieval. Get medieval. Medieval. Scared me. Yes, surprise, surprise, a game about a skeleton knight fighting against this FMV monstrosity in a dark, gothic, horror-inspired town of undead freaks and mutant residents with a brooding epic orchestral score actually scared me slightly when I was a little babby. Well, more specifically, the graveyard. The yard with graves in it. Yeah, I remember picking this game up and feeling like such a skeletonly badass. Running through the first level, Dan's crypt, spinning my body around, throwing my arm as a boomerang, not fighting any enemies because I was a wuss. Yes, I loved me some medieval. And then level 2 happened. The graveyard. When I actually left the safety and seclusion of the underground crypt to actually step outdoors into the dead of the night, that freaked me out enough. But then
Zombies happen.
I was in danger. I had to fight enemies this time, and not just enemies, fast, moaning zombie enemies with flailing limbs everywhere. They took out my health very quickly, I couldn't react fast enough, I hated the way they randomly came out of the ground and headed straight towards me, and it happened in a scary-ass graveyard. My childhood self was not ready for this at all, and as a child, this was enough for me to say fuck it and throw the console out of the window. But then go and get it back. Because the PS1 was my... Yeah, the graveyard in Medieval. It scared the shit out of me as a child, and the first time I beat it, oh my, I felt so good. And then the village level came along. Death is kind of a scary thing. Games use death as a punishment of failure, and in some survival horror games, losing health from enemies and getting closer towards your death is used as a psychological scare tactic. It makes you fear the failure state of the game itself because of the weakness of your character, and the fear of restarting from a particular point and reliving all of the fear all over again, even if sometimes the enemies aren't even that scary. So imagine my ineffable shock when I played Kurushi for the first time and died in that game. This game, also known as Intelligent Cube in the Americas, is a puzzle game on the PS1. So with that knowledge under your belt, why on earth is the death screen so fucking horrifying? In fact, this whole game I found too much many years ago. You start the game and there's silence. You select the option you want and you hear this noise. Then the game begins and you hear this. And then, as this tiny little man, you run around this endless black void on a floating platform, capturing these deathly cubes trying to crush you, all with nothing but the sound of your own footsteps echoing towards the foreboding darkness. Whoever decided that puzzle games on PS1 just weren't hardcore enough, I salute you, good sir. With my middle finger. When I was little, this was the damn scariest puzzle game I'd ever bloody played. And when it all got a bit too much for me in the trickier stages, this happened. Holy fucking Christ! Is this stupid? I really don't know, is it? As a kid, this was one of the most scaring things I'd ever seen in games, and what made it worse was that I don't even think this was supposed to be scary. It's a goddamn puzzle game. It caught me off guard unlike anything I had ever seen before, and you know what? I think that the quote-unquote sequel, known as Kurushi Final, was so drastically different with adding cutesy music and everything purely because of complaints towards the original. All filed by me. Number 2 goes to that little classic known as Abe's Odyssey, or as I called it when I was little, Nabe. I've got to say, I was pretty close there. Yeah, I mean, the subject matter is dark and kind of horrible, the visuals and character designs are dark and grotesque, the music is slow and atmospheric, you died in one hit after being screeched at by a sling, and yeah, I don't think it was unnatural for some kids to be scared of this game when it first came out. Need I mention the blind Mudokons in Abe's Exodus? But believe it or not, when I was younger, I was never too bothered by the game itself. I could watch other people play it, I enjoyed the cutscenes even if they did slightly creep me out, and I even dabbled in and out of playing the game until I reached this screen. Why couldn't I get past this screen when I was little? The timing's fucking easy. Why was this so hard for me? Oh yeah, I finally did it. Oh god, it's a horse beast! What the fuck? Nah, the thing that scared me most of all with this game was the demo. The first image you see from the demo, more specifically. Purely because it was a jump scare. A big, smelly, horrible, bloody cheap jump scare. Whenever someone was to play the Abe's Odyssey demo around me, I would have to hide in the broom cupboard on the other side of the house until the intro passed because it simply scared me that much as a kid. I've talked about this before in my retrospective, so I'll just show you a clip from it. It explains pretty much everything my inner child completely hated. Sometimes I couldn't even get past the title card without shitting my pants. It's coming. Fucking hell! Last chance! Anyone? Who has guessed my number 1 yet? Has anybody got it? I bet nobody's got my number 1, but I suppose it doesn't really matter anyway because number 1 is next on this bloody list! Number 1. Oh boy, number 1. Is anyone here familiar with Net Yorose on PS1? It was basically an indie dev kit for any average consumer where they bought a really expensive but very sexy looking black PS1 console for developing their own games. Really cool if you ask me. And the games that were made on this thing were then made available on PS1 demo discs that came free from magazines. I won't go into too much specific details for secretive reasons, but suffice to say, there was a game made with this system and distributed through demo discs, and it was known as Clone. Scared yet? As a kid, I was scared enough by that opening alone, but I was too curious. I wanted to carry on. So what did I find? I found a maze game. An FPS maze game. In the pitch blackness. With freaky textures. You found keys, opened doors, and shot enemies. Sounds pretty basic enough, right? Well, I could explain why this was the scariest thing for me ever as a kid, but you know what? I won't even bother. Just watch me play it, and you'll see what I mean. Need I say more? I fucking thought not. And there you have it, everyone. My top 10 things in video games that scared the shmickles out of me as a kid. As always, please comment and share all of your opinions and your thoughts and your things that scared the absolute crap out of you when you were younger. I'm very, very curious. And hey, big shout out to you if you at least heard of what I placed at number 1, because whenever I talk to people about things that scared me when I was younger, and especially PS1 games for that matter, whenever I talk to people about Clone, everyone looks at me like I've got bollocks on my head because they don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I suppose not too far off, eh? And as always, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful. Scary light. Shadows. Ending the video with shadows. Because it's scary. Spooky. Nothing's gonna happen, don't worry. You're safe on my channel, you know that. If you're on Jordan's channel, there might be something scary, but you're not on Jordan Underneath's channel, you're on my channel, which means there's nothing you're going to worry about. I mean, I've never really done anything like that before where I scare the audience at the last second, and especially at the end of a video about... Hello there everybody, and thanks so much for watching this top 10 video. I'd just like to let you guys know that I'm now partnered with a company called AppMan, and if you want to know more about AppMan, then please go into the description and sign up and everything, because it's quite an awesome service. All you do, you download free apps, and with those free apps you basically earn credits which you can then exchange for online vouchers. So Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and PayPal, they're all on there. And for a limited time only, you earn an extra $5 on your first $5 reward that you claim. So that's a pretty awesome deal, and I thought I'd like to let you guys know about it. And it also further supports this show, so please consider it if you'd like to. You can also look in the description for my Games Grabber collection, which is where I put all of my games that I've been playing recently, the ones that are on my shelves, everything I've been buying and playing and reviewing and everything, and even PC parts for videos and everything. It's all in the Games Grabber link, which is pretty cool, along with all my social networks, so there we go. And as always, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, happy freaking birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.